the Groovy Podcast. I'm Ken Cousin. What?
Episode.
Oh, today, episode 17. Today, episode 17. Today is Thursday, July 30th. See, I've got it up here in the corner. That's
Good.
how I know, you know. And Baruch and I, why don't you never say your last name? Why don't you say
That people get, it's complicated.
Am I going to have to guess?
No, it's complicated. And the thing is, I think I'm more or less the only Baruch in the industry, so it's easy.
Well, yeah, but all right. At any rate, we're broadcasting or podcasting, whatever we're doing. We're broadcasting live from GreatConf in Minneapolis, the U.S. version of GreatConf, and very happy to be here, having a great time. And you want to try to turn that around and pull
Yeah.
yeah. See, there's
We'll
all
see.
these people here.
You see the full auditorium? It's like full of people, or the picture. Now the picture is lying. It's actually more people.
We'll fix that in post-processing.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
multiply. Like
You gonna turn it back around? or
No,
not?
it was
No?
fun.
Nah, come on.
Okay, you need to see yourself, right?
No, it's going to be that kind of podcast, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're
it
going
will.
to go that way.
And we're before the beers.
Come on over here. You're supposed to be logged in too.
All right.
Okay, so
I have a question for the audience. First of all, you remember how Java Posse did the live podcasting with clapping and everything, right? Remember that? Okay, good. How many of you heard about the Groovy Podcast before today?
yeah,
Not bad. More than half. We're popular.
this could be all of our users, all of our viewers.
They're all here.
Everybody.
So we can go off air. Everyone is here.
Yeah. Well, no, Peter's going to want to watch it.
All right.
Yeah, and Peter's not going to be able to make it because. Okay, now I always get this wrong, but that's what Google's for, right? It's to try to figure out the time in London, right? So let's see, what time is it in London?
Wow.
And apparently it's 11 p.m. in London right now.
Okay,
So
anyhow.
if it was me, I'd be on the podcast.
Of course,
Yeah.
11 a.m. is,
PM.
p.m.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the children are still up.
Or what would that be, 23?
Good. Nice work.
I'm sorry.
Military
Okay.
time, right?
It really is. This is not normal. In case you've ever not watched I'm talking to the pardon me, it's a live audience. I know we're playing to an audience, aren't we? We're talking. Right now. I'm talking to the inimitable Jeff Brown, right? Jeff Scott Brown, if you follow the Twitter handle, who is one of the core team members of Grails and a really good guy and a Midwesterner as well. Fits into this whole model, I suppose, being out here. And we're going to talk to him later about recent developments in Grails because we don't have a lot of news items, but we do have those.
So we have this conference and we have the great audience and a couple of speakers here. I think we can go for an hour today. No problem at all.
I don't think we're going to be going for an hour today.
Yeah, people will just leave and we will stay on our own.
I'm going to be one of those people, I'm one of the ones who leave. It'll be all yours, man.
I would like to talk about a little bit about the conference, considering the occasion. And I think first of all, it's the home conference for us, for all the Groovy and Girls community and everything. And I would like to ask Sean to join us for a couple of minutes.
Surprise! Yeah,
Come here.
Come on up. Why don't you say something?
And
say something nice, though.
The organizer of GreatConf US.
Come on in here.
Oh boy.
Sean Jurgenmeyer, right?
Jurgenmeyer.
Is it Jurgenmeyer?
It's Jurgenmeyer.
Like
That's right.
Jurgensen.
Yes,
Sonny
like
Jurgensen.
that.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, nobody gets that reference but me. Go ahead.
And how's the conference this year, especially after the transition and everything?
We still had a really good turnout this year. A lot of people came. A lot of people are excited about the technologies. We had a great workshop day yesterday. It was the first year that we've done 4 full tracks of workshops. We had a wonderful turnout for that as well. So I see a lot of people still excited about the technologies, and I think Ken did a really good job this morning talking about the kind of the state of the Groovy ecosystem and where we can look to going forward.
So, because I heard from Soren that they had a little bit hard time in Europe for GreatConf Europe, but you didn't feel
we felt we had a somewhat drop in attendance, but we still had a good turnout. So essentially, last year was our best year ever for turnout, and this year we went back to the levels we had previous to that.
Oh, okay.
So, still a solid turnout, just not the amazing year we had last year. And I'm hoping that, now that I think we're on a much more solid footing as far as the ecosystem goes, we'll pick back up again next year.
And all the FUD a little bit passed away, right? And
Move in.
yeah.
No, you're fine. He's got to move in.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I think the quality of the talks has been very, very high.
Yeah, we have a lot
stuff.
of really good talks this year, and I've heard multiple people talking about having to make tough choices between the various talks. But one nice thing is that we will be posting the videos online so people can see the talks that they missed.
It's good.
That's very helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're off the hook.
And I think we should just go around. I see here at least 5 or 6 speakers sitting in the audience. We can just do a couple of minutes with every one of them.
We do have some news items.
No, that's okay. Next time.
Dude, I went to the trouble to put those news items in. I'm going to read.
We definitely will use them next time. That's
No.
for sure.
Well, all right. Who do we? Well, why don't we?
Let's
have
start
Jeff
with the
come in?
keynote, right?
Yeah, because it's always, if you have an opportunity to talk to Jeff, you take it. You definitely take that.
And
So-
I want to know the news items.
Oh, you want to know the news items? Well, it turns out one of the news items, Grails 3.0.4 was released. Yeah, you may
yesterday.
be aware of that yesterday, right? And so was Grails 2.5.1. But
So
anyway,
it was 2.5.1, but those applause are for Graham. Graham has been doing all the work, almost all the work on the point releases lately. Thank you from Graham.
well, the big thing I noticed in 3, of course, is the one that I happen to care about, which I don't know if anybody else did, or a few people did, was that the return of the dynamic scaffolding, right? That's back now in Grails 3.
It is back now.
We will, on my part, because I push for that, I will turn around and say, don't use it in production. It's a bad thing, right? It hurts performance. I mean, all the reasons you wanted to drop it in the first place, absolutely. Of course, one of the things in Grails 3, in case you're not aware, they have the Fields plugin turned in there, so you can still do static scaffolding, and you don't have to regenerate your scaffolding every time a new field comes in. But were there any other changes in Grails 3, that 3.0.4 that you wanted to comment on?
No, if I would have, I don't have all that stuff in my head. You should have let me know ahead of time.
Yeah, I know.
But the change logs are, if you look at the change log, all that stuff.
I went to the, actually, I happen to have that, well, at any rate, I'll go back to it. Okay, the other thing was, I should mention that it is available on GVM, which soon will become SDK Manager.
No, I saw on the agenda for tomorrow's talk, it still says GVM, and I was hopeful that means that all the renaming idea was dropped, and I was very happy about it.
No,
We'll
come back.
We will get Marco now here on the stage, and we will talk about it.
We've still got Jeff for a minute. Did anything interesting come out of 2.5.1, or again, that was all done without your knowledge or approval or anything?
No. There's some bug fixes in 2.5.1. No major new features.
So you can upgrade easily, but you don't have a burning need to.
You can upgrade super easy. On the topic of upgrades, so we're telling folks. So a lot of 2.2 and 2.3 users are asking, what version should we be upgrading to? Should we go to 2.4? Should we go to 2.5? Should we go to 3? And at this point, for most applications, there's really no good reason to move to 2.4. If you were updating a 2-something app and didn't want to go all the way to 3, you almost certainly should just go to 2.5.1. The amount of effort, the amount of increased effort that it will take to go all the way to 2.5, it's going to take you the same amount of effort to go to 2.5 to go to 2.4. You may as well just go to 2.5 unless you come into run into some specific problem with that. The other option, of course, is moving all the way to 3, and depending on the application, maybe that's the right thing to do, maybe it's not. The one of the blockers that's keeping a few folks from moving to 3 are plugins, right? So if you've got a Grails 2 application that depends on a lot of plugins, and some of those plugins haven't been ported to 3 yet, that's one reason you might just go to 2.5 and maybe not go all the way to 3 yet. But we're making a really good headway on the plugin front for 3. We've migrated a lot of plugins. We're still actively migrating more plugins. Just today, we were able to make a pretty big announcement that sometime there's Bert Beckwith over there. Sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, has committed to having a milestone of the Spring Security core plugin for Grails 3 That's just a really big deal. That's the most important missing plugin right now, and so I feel great that we've got a good plan in place. Bert's going to do that initial push. Colin Harrington is also going to be working with him and kind of co-working that effort. I think Colin's here right now. But that's a really big deal. That's of all the plugins that haven't been ported to 3 that are going to be ported, that's the most important one. So having a plan in place for that is a really big deal. A huge thanks to Bert for contributing to that.
I did notice that on the Grails site,
I
whenever
want
they
to point
talk
out that Luke just walked in. He has no idea what we're talking about. He just heard people clapping, and he started clapping as he walked.
You're going to be up next, so have a seat, sir.
Now, first we will beat Marco for the naming.
Well,
the renaming.
Marco's not in the room at the moment.
He's here. He's hiding, but he's here.
I didn't see him. Okay, great. Then we'll nail him.
Yeah, we will.
But before, one more thing though. One thing I can ask you about that you know about. From the tweets I saw last week, you and Graham spent a week at OCI, and a lot of things. I remember from the tweets that not only was that a pleasant experience, you also mentioned something about a Grails roadmap 3.1 and things like that. Is there anything you can share with us about that yet?
Yeah, so Graham was in St. Louis with us last week. So most of you know that Graham lives in Spain. I live in St. Louis. OCI is based in St. Louis. And so he came to the States last week and spent the week with us at the offices, at the OCI offices, and also out meeting with clients around town. We got a lot done during the week. That was a really productive trip. And one of the things that we're working on last week was firming up some of the details around the 3.1 roadmap. And so soon we'll formalize that and publish it. I can talk about some of the broad strokes and some of the details. So one of the things that we'll be focusing on in 3.1 is improving or growing out the profile story for Grails 3. So one of the cool new things that was introduced in Grails 3 is this idea of application profiles, right? So the default profile is the web profile, right? It's for building kind of traditional browser applications with Grails. So the web profile for Grails 3 is what every Grails 2 application looks like, right?
Marco is trying to run away.
Okay.
So the profile system is in place now, and so now we can build different kinds of profiles. We can build a REST services profile, and when you build an application with a REST services profile, your application is only going to have the stuff necessary for publishing REST services. So, for example, there's no reason to have the taglib stuff there, GSP stuff, or any of that. So an application profile is kind of what it sounds like. It's a template that defines a Grails application with a certain set of capabilities, like publishing REST services, or another profile that we'll be publishing is, and this may end up being multiple profiles, but an SPA or single page application profile. So to make it really easy to build an application that serves up REST services and has a front end. Maybe there'll be an AngularJS profile, and then maybe there'll be an Ember one. So we'll be publishing several new profiles like that, and also improving the profile system to allow things like allow you to have your own custom profile repository. So if you want to have a profile repository in your enterprise for whatever reason, that's one of the things that's on the roadmap to support in 3.1.
Wonderful. Oh,
that's awesome.
We got a scoop, man. Right? It's the first time you're telling anybody.
Told you
that.
it will work out.
We may get like 5 new users for that. That's great. You know, or
At
watch
least,
viewers,
maybe even 6.
Okay. Yeah, my mom will probably. Anyway, thank you very much for coming up. I appreciate that. Last minute and everything. And we'll see you around the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So Marco eventually is out of the room.
But do you want to make him wait and go to Luke first,
Yeah,
or do you want to
he's
grab
not
him
here.
right away? What?
He's not here.
Oh,
He
Marco
ran away.
walked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Luke?
Luke is here, and Rob is here, and Mr. Haki is here. We have a lot of speakers, so we're good.
Yeah, well, we don't have forever.
We
Well,
do.
At any rate, hi. Hello. Good to see you, Luke. Here, come on in. I mean, it's not much of a camera, but there you go. Everybody who doesn't know, this is Luke Daly, who is the head of, well, done enormous contributions to open source. Ratpack being the dominant one now. Are you still at Gradle
Gradle's the
Incorporated?
dominant one, yes.
Yeah, you've got the Angry Elephant T-shirt. You know, it's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
you have it yourself, right?
Yeah, this was from the Gradle Summit.
I didn't get one of those.
Oh yeah, well, you got to know the right people. I guess. But I'm sure they can get you one.
I'll have to ask.
I actually got in trouble about that. Yeah, I talked to Beth, who was giving them out, and she said, "Oh yeah, here's one of these." And I said, "Oh cool, speaker shirt." So I took like 3 speakers and said, "Oh, go talk to Beth." And she said, "Don't tell everybody to come up here. I only have a couple." And I got in trouble, but that's normal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll give you this one if you want. But
That's okay. I'm not going to take the shirt off your back.
After the show, you can switch to shirts.
I would give you the shirt off my back. Anyway, what you're talking about here and what you talked about today was Rat Pack. And practically the whole Rat Pack team is here at this conference.
Yeah, we're just missing 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is there anything you want to say about upcoming developments or when the 1.0 release is coming or the 0.9? It's 19,
19,
right?
yeah. So that's what we're up to. So what is it? 2 or 3 days away from the first. But so we release on the first every month, and we'll continue to do that for the next one. So 19 will be on the 1st of August. And that'll be the last non-1.0 release. So
Yay! It's about time. How many years? How many years?
Well, 3 years, sorry.
3 years, yeah. That's a load.
It is, yeah.
You worked for Gradle. That took them forever to get the 1.0.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
right.
you learned
This
a
is what we
lesson.
do.
Less
Learn how to
than
do
3
it.
years. Or maybe not. Gradle?
Gradle, it was 6 years.
Yeah.
Inception.
yeah,
Right,
right.
yeah.
They were on, Spock may have set the record though. They were on 0.7. Yeah, until, I thought they were never going to make it.
1.0 is a bit of a nerve-wracking thing. That's a big commitment.
Yep.
That's why we haven't done it.
Is there anything in the feature-wise that you want to mention in the new releases?
Not too much in this one. At this point, we're just sort of polishing APIs, trying to get things a little cleaner. So a lot of a couple of few big things landed in some of the more recent releases. We completely redid our session stuff, security bits and pieces, some kind of deep-ish changes, some scarily deep changes this late in the game. But yeah, it's nothing really in this point 19. There's nothing really of note, just a few breaking changes, which all Rat Pack users love. And then that point on, we'll put something out, which will be the first release candidate pretty soon afterwards, I think. After maybe 2 weeks, we'll have that out. I'll try and get people to use it, get some feedback, fix anything that's broken, and then hopefully by September, 1.0 final is out.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Are the reactive extensions in there at all? Or is that coming later? Yeah.
So that's in there. We, in sort of 2 ways, we provide sort of bridging with RX Java. So if you want to use that, and we can convert between our types and their types pretty well. We also implement the reactive stream standard as well, which was an initiative kicked off by some dudes at TypeSafe, because there's all these different implementations of asynchronous reactive streams going around as an effort to standardize on it. So we were one of the early implementers of that. So that means that you can use Arca if you want to do some streaming, and Rat Pack can consume it and send it out.
The Java version of the library or the Scala version?
Take your pick.
Either one. You can just add it to the class path and you're good. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So the reactive streams thing is like it's an interop standard for different types of streaming libraries. They all talk this one API. That's our native streaming API. So if you have a library that can do that kind of stuff, then you can use it. So yeah, I mean, we're reactive insofar as that we support asynchronous data streams. So if you get reactive is one of those ways you get a different definition depending on who you're talking to. That's my definition of it. So for what makes sense for us anyway. So yeah.
Oracle guys call Java reactive, right?
Yeah, all I can say is I know what all those words mean technically, even though I'm not good at it yet. Rat Pack, I believe, was one of the first major projects that required Java 8, right?
Yeah.
Do you use the concurrency library or the concurrency mechanisms or any of the what do you use in Java 8 that you need? So
Lambda syntax.
The Lambdas,
I use functional interfaces all over the place. So without that, it would be pretty gnarly. I mean, what it means for a lot of people, especially coming from Groovy, is that there's not a lot of syntactic difference if you're using Groovy or Java 8 with Rat Pack. The closure stuff, it looks very similar. So, and of course, you're based on Netty, so that gives you a lot of advantages over. I mean, what exactly did Netty brings to the table? A lot of concurrency mechanisms and efficiency. So it is the workhorse that's doing all the I/O and doing the async I/O stuff like that. So we don't talk to any sockets or anything like that. It does that, manages it for us. So it's really the networking engine. But what we do is put a layer on top of that sort of mere mortals can program against. Kind of thing. So Netty is extremely powerful, but with a lot of power, it takes a bit of wrangling to do that. So, and we're also, NetE is a generic networking engine where we're focused on HTTP apps. So kind of that's what you want to do. It makes sense to constrain a little bit there. So.
Cool. By the way, I love the name. You know, I mean, based on the old, from the Ruby world, of course, they had Sinatra, right?
Yeah.
And then bringing it into Groovy, it had to be Rat Pack. And frankly, I wanted to use the project just because of that, you know, but it has become very, very nice. It's a very easy project to use. I'm still learning, you know, as the documentation improves and the tutorials grow and the sample code grows. I think people are going to find that to be very productive.
That's good.
Thank you very much for that, by the way. You know, appreciate that. Is there anything you wanted to say about Gradle, or is that not something you're directly involved in at the moment anyway? I mean,
that's just my life.
Well, I mean, but we're talking about Rat Pack. I didn't know if there's anything you want to say about Gradle where I don't know what you can say at this point.
Yeah, I would say one thing if
it's not Gradleware. Sorry.
Have a look at the keynote from the Gradle Summit. If you're interested in Gradle type things, Hans gave a keynote at that summit, which covered a lot of the new developments, a lot of things that are coming online, like Gradle.com.
They're already out?
No, it's a placeholder now.
I mean the videos.
Oh, the videos. Some of them, I think. But
I'm not sure if the keynote one is, but if it's not, it's pending. It's going to be there soon. So I'll definitely check that out and check it. That'll show you what Gradle.com is going to be all about, which is really super exciting stuff. It's a demo of it there. So definitely check that out.
And of course, the biggest thing, the big change in Gradle 2.5 that has a lot of people talking about it is the continuous build capability, the dash T flag. You hear about that in half the talks at this conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have finally got that in. That's something we've been talking about for so long. So many people have asked for, and we finally kind of found the time to do that. And it's really, that's the first incarnation of it. We've got a lot more to do there. And in Gradle 2.6, we announced our support for TypeSafe's Play web framework. What's kind of interesting about that is that we integrated that with the continuous mode to do the hot reloading, like Grails has done for a long time, I think. So what that means is, for Grails at least, a lot of the stuff that they've had to write in their build system on top of Gradle, they'll be able to cut out and delegate to us to that kind of thing. And also means for all, we'll be using that Rat Pack for the hot reloading and all that kind of stuff. So it's really potentially quite a big game changer in just trying to get that local development loop tight for a lot of things, you know, not for web apps, for whatever you're building. Yeah,
that's huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the irony is that this is one of the few areas where a lot of the JavaScript world was actually ahead of us. I mean, we criticize 90% of their tools only because we should, but but they criticize us saying that we're taking Gradle and just reinventing Grunt and Bower and all those other ones. But that continuous, is it dash continuous is the alias for dash T? Is that what it's called?
It's dash T is the short form. Dash continuous is the long one.
Right. So I mean, it's a very nice feature. I expect that to be very popular. And if you combine it with like a live reload in the browser, then you can make modifications to regular pages and see that show. I see that with the AsciiDoc stuff happening a lot. So, thank you very much for coming all the way from us.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right, just for this.
Good. All the rest is just.
How about that?
I'm done.
Great, thanks. Marco, you're next. Come to your shame here to the podium, Marco.
I just mentioned AsciiDoc, and that's Mr. Hockey.
And he's here. No, we promised to ask Marco about the.
You really want to harass Marco?
Yes.
You know, he's a really nice person. There's no need for you to give him such a hard time. Just over because
he tries to rename GVM. He deserves the hard time.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Always pleasant. Here, come where the camera can see you. This is Marco Vermeulen. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, that's
Vermeulen, you know, who lives in London these days, right?
Yep.
But South African originally, Dutch.
Yes.
If I get that right. And is the creator of probably the finest product in the entire ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Which should have been called Groovy Version Manager, because then you wouldn't have to put a V in the middle. But instead it's called Groovy Environment Manager just because of the older product, right?
Yeah, so there were quite a few issues. Initially, we wanted to call it Groovy Environment Manager, but only to realize that gem was obviously already something.
That never occurred to me. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. Yeah, that's wonderful. But it's a wonderful product, and of course, you know what Baruch's unhappy about.
Yeah, so let me put it very clear. We hate the renaming idea
Why is that?
because GVM is a very nice name, and the acronym of whatever it exactly does. And Groovy, it's not just about Groovy, it's all the community. And actually, you can stretch it to whatever you like, right? You can decide it's not acronym anymore. It's just GVM, and it does environment configuration for whatever you like.
But I'll say, if you make it so that using SDKMAN, or whatever you'd like to call it, you can switch between JDK versions, everything is forgiven. That would be really nice. So do you want to say anything about the plans, the schedule, whatever you like, the capabilities?
Yes, absolutely. So the name change is actually quite significant in terms of what we aim to do. GVM was very much focused on the Groovy ecosystem, but it's almost like I've had so many requests for more than that, for it to expand and to start becoming something bigger, especially what you just mentioned regarding JDKs. So that is definitely something I want to target. And it's definitely become a lot more than just for the Groovy community. It's now become something that all other communities can start leveraging as well. So we'll be able to start serving Clojure and Scala. And not just languages, but you can make it broader. You can have something that serves things like Kafka, for instance. If it's a zip and it's got a bin folder, it'll be able to be served by SDKMAN.
Right. Yep.
So
I think that GVM could stand for good stuff for environment management.
Well,
and then you can do whatever you like with it.
But the command's just going to be SDK, right?
The command is going to be SDK.
I can live with that.
For backward compatibility, I'm still going to leave an alias in there for GVM.
I will use it forever. By the way, guys, where you download Java from? I'm going to java.sound.com. And it works, right?
Yeah, so there are some challenges involved there because Java in particular is platform specific. So every platform that you want to install it on will need its own binary. So that's a bit of a complication. Whereas what we're doing at the moment is we're serving universal zips. So this is something I've already spiked and I've got it working locally. But there will be some more testing involved because obviously Mac has got a totally different structure in the way that the SDK is formed as opposed to, say, Linux or Windows. Yeah. So
I like one of the things I've noticed that has not gotten as much press, but is very significant, is you've made it so that publishers can simply push a new distribution and GVM will update automatically. You're not in the loop anymore. Notice that's true with Grails. When the Grails 3.0.4 distribution was released, you almost immediately got the tweet that, oh yeah, we're on GVM now.
Yeah.
Right, so that's a great capability as well.
Yeah, so I spent some time this year developing vendor APIs specifically for that reason, because I wanted to start scaling out. But the thing that was stopping me from scaling out and introducing a lot more candidates on GVM or SDKMAN was the fact that I had to sit there watching Twitter the whole time. So when the Grails team were releasing, I had to sit there waiting. And if I was on holiday, I had to take my laptop with. And
holiday, what's that?
So it was a bit of a bottleneck. So I had to get that piece in place first before I could start scaling up.
Yeah, for the publication, that you call it the vendor API, that's a wonderful thing as well. Although most people won't be using it directly, we're getting the benefit of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Any plans for when all this switchover is going to happen? Do you know schedule-wise? Or, I mean, I know you're working on it in your free time, so who knows? But
so it's very close. I think the thing that's holding me back at the moment is the website. I want to go public with a proper website.
So it's not Baruch that's holding you back.
I don't care about the audience that had the rename idea.
Okay.
So I'm actually pretty close. I just need to do finishing touches. I have to implement all the final pages. So almost there. Once that's done, we'll cut over to the new website. The code for the CLI is already all ready and done. It's just a matter of running a migration script on everyone's machines, which will happen automatically. It will just come as a new update, and we'll be ready to roll.
Well, I love the product. It's a wonderful service to the community. Thank you for everything you're doing on that. And I look forward to typing SDK or GVM alias to SDK in the future. So
Yeah,
thank you
exactly.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Talking about Java version and mentioning Java 8 for Redpack, I think that there will be another, for me at least, significant tool that will require Java 8, and that will be the Artifactory 4.
Artifactory?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it will be released in 3 days, next Sunday, the whole new UI, couple of new features and everything, and Java 8 as a minimum.
Oh, interesting. Any particular reason, or just decided to?
And also we did a lot of work on the UI side. We tried a lot of work on the backend side, and we decided that Java 8 is here, Java 7 is almost dead, and most of the people can upgrade, and why not?
Well, we've got a live audience. How many people are on Java 8 at the moment? How many at their business?
No,
is on Java 8?
they can't see that. How many people are on Java 8?
Tell me. How many are at businesses that are on Java 8? Well, the enthusiasm's there. I mean, the uptick in adoption is very rapid. It's funny that Oracle did something clever, and I never use those two words together in a sentence, you know. When they did an end of life on Java 7, they didn't say that there will be no more updates to Java 7. They said there will be no more security updates to Java 7. Now, of course, if there's no more updates, there's no more security updates. But by using the word security, companies go, oh, wait a minute, that's a problem. We better look into updating now. And who knew they would come up with something? It's got to be an accident, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
Definitely.
Should we bring another speaker?
I wanted to mention Jen, by the way.
Of course.
Jen Strader, do you want to come up and say hi? Jen Strader is one of the co-founders of the Great Ladies, GR8 Ladies. I didn't bring my shirt, though. But
I didn't bring mine.
You want to say anything about Great Ladies? I know we're having a meetup tomorrow night, if you wanted to mention something, or just what the purpose is and the goal, or whatever you'd like to say.
Sure. So Great Ladies is the organization for the support of women, whether you're using Groovy, Grails, Griffin, any of the Groovy ecosystem technologies. We want to bring everyone together and support the women that are here, and of course get more women in the community as well. Part of that, we do a lot of education, getting the word out, speaking. We're having meetups, sessions. I'm going all over the world talking to different conferences, part of that. Lots of stuff going on. We've got a website, greatladies.org. Lots of stuff happens there. Our Twitter feed is another popular way to find out what's happening with us. The happy hour is tomorrow as part of GreatConf. Whether you are part of GreatConf, you can bring your spouse, your kids. Anyone is welcome. Friday, 6:30, the local.
You're clearly ramping up your work too. Well, first of all, sorry. It's best to get that. You're ramping up what you're doing these days. I noticed. I mean, you gave a talk at Greach, right?
Right. Yeah. So I went to Greach in Madrid in April. Copenhagen.
The GreatConf
GreatConf
EU
here.
one, right?
And then here, so this is my conference season.
When you have Spring 1 to JS.
No, not me.
It's a
Allison.
Groovy conference. You have to
Well,
come.
Allison will be there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
we're-
that's yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful.
So the Great Ladies will be
Together.
covered. Oh, well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
I know
you.
it's last minute. I hate to put you on the spot like that, but I appreciate you.
Yeah, this is what we do for all of them. So thank you.
We'll be back. Watch
Yep, and
episode 2.
Episode 2 of. Oh,
It's
this is episode 17.
No, I was on.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
You
my
are
God, no.
of the reborn, like half a year ago.
It was several months ago.
Yeah.
I was still.
Yeah.
I was running another company.
Right.
We'll fix that in post. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Oh,
So
I'm embarrassed now.
okay, now Ken.
got
We have Mr.
Hockey.
Hockey. We have Rob Fletcher. We have
That'll probably do it. I think. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, people are going to get antsy. You know, there's.
No, they're fine. Look at them. They're smiling. Some of them.
Yeah, you don't want them to stop smiling. I mean, they'll turn on you and it'll get ugly. But anyway,
Mr. Hockey.
Yeah, come on down, man. Hubert H. Klein Ickink, right?
Nice. Good job.
I've been
You know
practicing.
what? I'm thinking about telling you my last name.
Oh,
You're not a good guy.
yeah. collectively known as Mr. Hockey, who has the wonderful, wonderful blog where every time you learn something, you tell everybody about it in a particularly simple and effective way. Big admirer. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Today you were talking mostly about AsciiDoc.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll talk about AsciiDoc, which I really like to use as a toolbar, and basically for technical documentation, including source code files, which is tested. That's a really great thing to use AsciiDoc for, especially with Gradle integration and extensions. That's also a big part, of course, in AsciiDoc. You can extend the syntax yourself if you want to. It's a really powerful thing to do. So.
Yeah, and the Gradle plugin.
Yeah,
it's written by Andres Almarai. It's very good.
Yeah.
I've used the PDF generator inside that as well. I do all my training materials now on AsciiDoc. So
Yeah,
I'm always heading over. You have a
and I think Gradle's training materials are also
the Grails
AsciiDoc,
user guide, right? It's in AsciiDoc now.
The training materials and the user guide.
No, I'm wrong. The Groovy one is.
That's a sad dog book story.
Dog book story. All right. So yeah, you have Groovy is the site. I think they have their like.
The sites do have their own generator, I guess.
Yeah.
But a lot of book parts, article parts is in AsciiDoc.
Right.
Yeah. But you've got the your LeanPub books, the Groovy Goodness notebook, and the Grails Goodness notebook, and isn't it a Spock Goodness?
There's a Spock Lite notebook, and there's an AsciiDoc notebook.
And now there's awesome AsciiDoc, right? Which that one's actually
free.
Yeah, you're not going to make a lot of money from that.
No, none.
It's a problem, but yeah.
You write it.
Daytime job, so
you write it anyhow. So
yeah, just reorganize it and put it into a book. That's the thing I do. So, yeah.
Well, it's very pleased that you made the trip. Thank you very much for coming over. I hope you have a good time at the rest of the conference.
I probably will. Yeah.
And
we have a speaker dinner tonight.
So there will be a good time.
You don't want to separate us from everybody else. That's not nice. You know.
What do you mean? We're speakers.
That's an elitist thing. You don't want to draw a distinction. We're just them. You know. We just happen to be up here at the moment. That's all it is.
Wait a second. I'll adjust the camera.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
but thank you very much for coming up. Good to
Thank
see
you.
Take care.
Thanks. Yeah, so I think I asked Rob to come, and now he's just sitting there miserable, trying to understand why he's here. So
Where's Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Rob Fletcher is currently at Netflix, I believe. Is that right? Used to be based in the UK, but Netflix forces everybody to move to Silicon Valley, of course.
Which is a real hardship.
Yeah, that's right. Excellent. How are you liking things out in the Silicon Valley world these days?
I experienced rain here for the first time in about 6 months.
Right.
The other day. Other than that, it's going really well now.
So what are you working on these days?
So we're working on some continuous delivery and build stuff for Netflix. So it's effectively what's going to be replacing AsciiDoc. So we are hoping to do some announcements around open sourcing it at some point soon, but there's much work to do before that's the case. So look out for that, hopefully.
What are you speaking about at GreyConf?
I did a workshop in Spock yesterday, and I'm doing a talk in Spock tomorrow. So pretty much a one note conference from me this year.
I mean, I'd give you a hard time about the book, but
the book. Let's talk about the book.
Well, wait, is Dan Woods here?
Yeah, not here, but
so we can always give Dan a hard time about the book.
Yeah,
so
that
we'll
works.
Give you an easy time, but knowing that we'll do much worse for Dan. So,
right. Yeah. So the book is in progress.
What's it called?
It's got a title that's kind of in flux at the moment. So yeah, it was originally going to be called Groovy Testing with Spock. I think I'm probably going to be changing that.
Yeah, the Manning book's Java testing with Spock. But that's good news hopefully from your point of view, is that book is always one of the most popular books at Manning. It's certainly one of the early access books in the top 10 list there. Yeah. So there's definitely an audience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think and Spock's mature enough now that I would really like to see it breaking outside of the Groovy ghetto, for want of a better word. And people should be using it instead of JUnit when they're testing Java stuff. They should be using it all across the JVM. So that's one of the things I want to drive home. And I've done some talks focused on that in the past as well. That even if you're not coding your production coding Groovy, for goodness sake, test it as well.
And that's another step, foot in the door that you mentioned this morning.
Well, and Grails, of course, uses Spock for the native testing. I mean, by default, whenever they create a unit test or an integration test, they're Spock based. And of course, now in Grails 3, They've got Jeb built in. You don't have to add the plugin anymore like you did in 2, which I always think of as based on Spock, for functional testing.
Right. It's kind of, it pairs up very well with Spock for functional testing.
That's what
and
we do as
Ratpack,
well.
of course, is a big user of Spock. If you look at the Ratpack code base, it's got an enormous
That's actually
suite of Spock tests.
Oh, so they do test, I think.
Actually,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
I gotta say, no, I gotta put in a word. That's one of the nicest things about Ratpack is how incredibly easy it is to do both unit testing and integration testing / functional testing. They will deploy the script and run it, and you can access it and shut everything down in just a couple of lines of code. I really like that.
The game-changing thing about it is it's incredibly fast as well. So
right.
you can really practically do proper end-to-end testing with Ratpack because the thing starts up in milliseconds, and you can define a very small function within the body of your test, and off you go. It starts up almost instantly, shuts down almost instantly. It's not like the traditional slow cycle of functional tests that a lot of people are used to.
Just be happier when they stop breaking the API every time.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, but that's
So-
why the book's so delayed, because a lot of my examples are in Ratpack, and every time they push this, I have to go back and rewrite entire chunks. of
So it's
code.
actually it's on them, right? It's
Right,
not you.
exactly.
I've tried to
yeah.
use that excuse myself, and it flies for a while, but eventually, thank you very much for coming out, though. We really appreciate that.
Thank
It's
you.
good
Yeah,
to see you.
it's an easier journey than I was last year.
Oh, good. Yeah, definitely.
So I managed to steal a couple of more minutes from your tight 30 minutes schedule.
Well, as long as they don't look hostile yet. We're not keeping them from food or whatever. It's not a good thing.
You want another one?
What? Who else were you thinking about?
We have Bert here, right?
Oh, Bert. Do you want to say hi?
Oh no,
Bert, or you-
I saw him left the.
He's right there. Bert
Oh.
Beckwith.
Oh, okay.
No, he doesn't want to do it.
We have Ryan here.
No. We don't want to put anybody on the spot. I mean,
Of course we want. That's the fun part of it.
there's a difference between the Groovy community and other communities. We are not nasty people. We're not harsh people, except for Dan, right? I mean, just remember, in order to unfollow Dan Woods, you have to follow him first. That's part of the problem. But I will say, by the way, and I think I've mentioned this before, he has an all-time world-class LinkedIn profile.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, he even.
Yes.
What was the most recent one? Oh shoot, I'm blanking on it. The crisis that just happened recently. I mean, I know he had the one about the public data being stolen, and he of course put in it's all his responsibility, and he's had a whole series of those. Sort of
He has the most awesome, weird and sick LinkedIn profile. Yeah.
Didn't he say the most Dan Woods thing ever is that he got like evals from last week where somebody said this was the greatest presentation I saw, and somebody else said this was horrible, and it's like that's Dan Woods in a nutshell. It's great, and he's not here to defend himself, so I feel a little bad, but not so bad. I'm not going to say it. So,
It's done. You can say whatever you like. It's done.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Anybody else? Anything else?
So I think we should
just
wrap it up.
At least mention there was a new Grails diary this week, the one that is put out by Jakob Nicholson. Is that pronounced right? I don't know exactly. But at any rate, just Google Grails diary and you'll go to the latest version of that, which has all the updated, not just news, but also plugins and tweets, things of that nature. I assume Guillaume LaForge will be putting out a Groovy Weekly very soon, making our
Hopefully.
job easier.
Yep. So I promise you we will put your notes to the good use next time.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. So we will try to do this again 2 weeks from now, roughly. And it's always good to have people here to see it. So thank you all very much for coming, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you.